First things first, I want to give South Dakota State a lot of credit. Those kids and their coach, man, they had a really good game plan. They executed. They're a well-disciplined team. We knew that before we played them. They're used to winning, and you can sense and feel that. And they have a very solid point guard. And, number 35, Wilson, we knew coming into the game is an outstanding player. And they're disciplined on both sides of the ball. They played against a team tonight that wasn't very smart, and that's our team. Everybody gets, the kicks out of quick shots, and it's fun, and it's like we're at a carnival. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. The analogy is no different in college football. When the weather gets cold, you got to be able to both run and pass. You got to be smart. Tempo, that sounds good, but usually when the game gets going fast, that means that you're flying around on defense. You're getting defensive stops. You're making good plays. And, of course, we have talent in the open court, and that's when the quick shots are going to go up, and they're going to be good shots. But to take quick, crazy shots, three-point shots, the way we did tonight, we're very fortunate to win. We have a player on our team who leads the nation. If you lead the nation in anything, you are outstanding. Zeke Nnaji has proven that when he gets the ball, especially around the rim, great things happen. We played 20 minutes, and he was in foul trouble, but it really started in the second half of the last game where he didn't take one shot. He didn't take one shot. You have the nation's leading field goal shooter on your team, and he doesn't take one jump hook, not one. That's a problem. And we had 13 three-point shots at the half. We had 10 twos. We were 8 for 10 from two. We were 4 for 13 from three. You don't get fouled. You don't go to the foul line. And then the fact we had 12 turnovers plus 13 threes, that's as poor and as really inefficient, ineffective, not playing to win, not playing smart 20 minutes we've had in a long, long time, especially considering the way that our team is constructed. So, at halftime, the message was simple. Let's get the ball closer to the basket. Let's be a little bit more patient. We took care of the ball. We had only 3 turnovers. We had 3 turnovers in a minute and a half of the opening game, of the opening buzzer. So we played the final 20 minutes with only 3 turnovers, which is great. And you look at what happened, we took 3 threes. Even some of the twos we missed were right at the rim. They're head scratchers, 2 or 3 of them where, they're 90% shots. But, you shoot now all of a sudden 30 free throws in one half. He shot 7 in the first half. So we have to be a smarter overall team. And the one thing about basketball that makes our game different than others is the same group of guys that's on offense has to play defense. And if you're taking quick, ill-advised shots on offense, the ball's not getting to where it should on offense, it's hard for that same group to be tough-minded, disciplined together on defense. It works together. And, when you're playing tough defense and you're where you're supposed to be and you're grinding it out and you're getting defensive stops, well, that same group's not going to take circus shots, three-point shots for no reason. So do I feel like we have the ability to learn a lesson here? No doubt. But the lesson is learned from my perspective of that's not going to happen. If we have to slow it down, we'll slow it down. But the best players on our team and the players that are efficient need to get more shots, and the players that keep missing have to shoot less or play less. I think the other part is we're a deep team. Tonight was not our bench's night. They broke down defensively, and we just didn't get that spark. We might have had 1 4-minute stretch in the second half where we did, but our bench didn't have a great night. For that matter, really, neither did our starters. We did not have a good night tonight. South Dakota State deserves a lot of credit, but again, the fact Zeke had 0 field goal attempts in the first 20 minutes, that's the coach's fault. And it's up to me to correct that, and I think it'll be corrected first thing tomorrow.
Sometimes, as a coach, you need a game like this. I don't know if you believe that or not, but where you get their attention and they know what you...
But you want us to play really fast, though. Did we score enough?
Yes, I get your point.
I mean, right now, playing fast is going to happen because we are good in the open court. and we got opportunities and we're racing the ball up or we're pushing it off of misses. But a quick shot, it's never changed in the last 200 years or the next 200. A quick shot in basketball's got to be a good one. If you take too many quick ones by the wrong guys or they don't go in, all of a sudden the game feels funny. And guess what? That same group, it's really hard to give your heart and soul as a unit on defense when you're really not playing as a unit on offense. And that is definitely the lesson we learned. And now it's up to us to learn from it and carry it into the next game. But if we play the style that we played tonight, there's going to be some games where we look great. There's going to be some games where we have some really poor halves or stretches because we weren't a smart basketball team tonight.
Along those lines, did the 4 previous games give you, maybe your team, a sense of they can do that all the time? And
I think so, but again, the better competition we play against, it's not easy to get those quick ones. They're practicing hard too. That early shot, first 5 seconds, first 10 seconds, it's what all really good defensive teams take away. You could be in a 2-3 zone, you could press, get into a different zone, you could play man-to-man, but no matter who you are, those early quick shots, they're either going to be bad shots or ill-advised if you're a good defensive team. And tonight we ran into a solid team, and we just, it's like my turn. You shoot a 3, well, let me shoot a 3. And when you took 13 threes in 20 minutes and only 10 twos, those threes better be going in. And I think that it's a lesson for all of us. It's a lesson for our staff. And we have to take advantage of the gifts that we have. Zeke doesn't take bad shots. He doesn't. And when we can get him the ball, good things happen. And that doesn't mean he's going to shoot it every time or, all these other players we have aren't allowed to shoot it. But you can't let 20 minutes go by where he doesn't get one good shot. And that started in the last game, and it led to this game. And it clearly is a lesson that we needed to learn. And I'm glad we were able to win. I really am, because tonight, we played with fire, and a couple threes go in the second half. Could have been a different outcome for sure.
That said, do you feel like they were doing anything defensively with Zeke that made it tougher? It seemed like they were doubling him and harassing him maybe a little.
I think they were daring our perimeter players to shoot, and we took the bait. And again, percentages don't lie. We have to take uncontested, wide-open threes. We have a couple guys on our team that are elite three-point shooters. Nico's one of them. Sometimes a quick 3 by him, an off-the-dribble 3 by him, is completely understood because he can really shoot the ball. He does it every day. But we have kind of an audition going on by our perimeter players to see who has the most threes taken, and it's just not the smart way for us to play the game. We have to be a smart team, and that bad offense bleeds into defense, and the next thing you know, you don't really play well. I also thought, a number of their drives, it was like 50-50. Is it a travel? Is it a foul? Is it? And we didn't necessarily get the break on a couple of those. That happens, but those long possessions, you have to be disciplined at the end of the possession to not foul and to contest. And we broke down a number of times. 2 different times they took the ball underneath their basket and they got a layup. And again, the layups were a matter of us communicating better, being more solid, being more aware, being more alert. It's something we go over, take a lot of pride in. But, when you're playing offense the way we were for most of the game, things like that start to happen on defense. And that's what's so important about being smart. You're not smart on one end, it leads to the other. And tonight was really a function of that for our team.
of the 17 threes, how many do you think are bad shots?
Well, we took 14 in the first half. I would say 6 to 8 of them we didn't need to take. Or we could have found that same shot much more uncontested, late in the clock, but we would have explored the opportunity to throw the ball in. You know, again, when you take that many three-point shots, you don't get to the foul line. We only shot 7 free throws in the first half. We shot 23 in the second. We shot only 3 shots from 3 in the second. We made 12 twos, and that was the turning point. I mean, we outscored them by 10 in the second half, in large part because the ball was around the basket and we only had 3 turnovers. But we also had 12 turnovers in the first half as well. And I think if you talk to their coach, that's not what their defense is trying to do. Like, they're a very solid, fundamentally sound team. They're not really in the passing lanes. So I think you can see kind of where our mind was and the way we were playing, and we have to do a better job.
I mean, that's a little like the way you guys play defense. Is that upsetting that because they probably are used to that? That you know, struggling against that?
It's not upsetting because of the style they played. It's just early in the year, and there's a lot of things you have to learn. You know, tonight we almost learned the hard way. We have to play smarter. And, you know, when you're the coach and you have a guy on your team, I mean, he's leading America from the field. By the way, he went 4 for 5 tonight. So he's 19 of his last 20. Is that right? Okay, so over the last 3 games, he's 19 for 20 from the field. I mean, maybe let's get him up to 27, right? And by the way, he's also a great passer. He's very unselfish in the first half. He had a couple that you almost wanted him to shoot, but he kicked it out. He's a willing passer, and I think what our guys will learn is the shot they're going to get from 3 is going to be uncontested. And we want them to shoot the ball with confidence, but not at the expense of what we did here tonight. Not for the entire game. Again, probably what I'm not giving our team credit for is we did, in fact, adjust at halftime. I mean, when you only take 3 threes. By the way, just so we're clear, we took 3 threes in the second half. We took 2 on the first 2 possessions. So we really played 19 and a half minutes. We took 1 3. And I think 3-point shooting has to be really good, taken by the right guy, and we have to have more balance. And defensively, we started to break down. But I almost feel like part of our defensive problems tonight was a function of our offense.
Zeke's one miss was that offensive rebound just kind of threw up off balance. I mean, does that figure that's the way it goes in basketball? And the streaks can be broken?
Yeah, and you know he was in foul trouble. A couple tough calls. You know, obviously we have to protect him and take a look at maybe the fouls that he committed. But you know, the reason he only played 20 minutes tonight is, you know, he was kind of forever in foul trouble. You know, but keep in mind he's a freshman, and those guys have to learn through trial and error. And, you know, just like Nico and Josh, they have to learn through trial and error as well. And, you know, they'll continue to get better. I thought Nico's drive was amazing. The dunk he had late in the game, I think, shows his talent. We want him to be aggressive. Don't read me the wrong way. We want him to push the ball. We want him to be aggressive. But I think all of us have to recognize where our advantage lies and make sure that we don't go durations without taking advantage of that.
You assess the rebounding effort tonight?
Just okay, you know. That's one thing I think Zeke can do better. He had 5 offensive rebounds, 1 defensive rebound. You know, Chase was solid with 7. But, you know, we rebounded as a team. You know, they were deliberate. They broke down late in the clock, and a couple of their second shots happened, you know, with those long rebounds at the end. But you guys may know better than me. I feel like we rallied to win the rebounding battle. They were the better rebounding team for most of the game. But again, here's the point. It's really hard to rebound on offense quick shots. It's very difficult to offensive rebound bad deep shots. And the better shot selection we got in the second half, it led to some offensive rebounds. So again, the smarter and more efficient we are when we have the ball, it will lead to good things. And I think that, you know, the margin of victory and how we feel about the game would be a different type of feeling. And we have to work on that.
You've been so good at interior, at playing inside with your inside defense, particularly. What broke down tonight a little bit? Was that what you're saying about the offense kind of bleeding over, or Zeke being in foul trouble? Or?
You know, I'm going to have to take a look at it. As good as our ball screen defense and our big guys were in our last game, and I thought they had a really tough night tonight. You know, might have been the scheme. They were very deliberate. They spread us out. And sometimes early in the year when a team spreads you out, you tend to spread out as a defense, and you give up things that you normally don't. But we were in a tough game. Like, you know, to your earlier question, first time we've really been tested, and, you know, a couple guys are a little bit tighter. Game doesn't come as easily when you're not up by double figures the entire way. So a lot of good things we can take from this game, but just because we could take it doesn't mean it's going to happen. We now have to make sure that it's very clear on roles and shots and how we want to play, and I think you'll see a much smarter team in the next game. Thank you.